Good afternoon, everyone, and I'm pleased to start the 7th Annual General Meeting today. My name is Reem Al-Sabag, and I serve as a board member in UOSSM Canada. I'm pleased to welcome all of you. We have distinguished guests, our friends, our supporters, our keynote speakers, and everybody in attendance. UOSSM Canada is the medical relief organization that was established 2012. And we would like to welcome all of you for being here today. Some of you have been with us for years, and some of you have just joined us today. UOSSM Canada was established 2012 as a medical relief organization, charitable, non-political organization. We used to implement projects with charity organizations in Canada to help people who were displaced by the war and people who are in underserved communities, to offer medical relief and humanitarian work, regardless of their ethnicity, political affiliation, or religion. The goal is as pertinent today as it was. It is a goal that I know we all share: quality health for human. 2020 was not short of challenges. It was a difficult year for everybody, and it affected us. However, vulnerable were more affected than others. The challenges were from the pandemic to the increased need for humanitarian work. Despite all the challenges, 2020 showed the positivity in the community, the generosity, and the commitment. And we were blessed to do some work, but all of the work that we were blessed to do was not possible without your help. 2020 was fruitful as we were able to implement various projects in different underserved communities. Locally, UOSSM Canada, partnering with Human Concern International, provided free meals for healthcare providers in Milton District Hospital and Georgetown as acknowledgement of our frontline workers. Likewise, we organized continuous medical education for physicians. And we just concluded before this AGM our third primary care update accredited by McMaster University. I have a distinguished guest, and I'm not sure if he has joined us or not, but we can move on until he comes in. I would like to share good news with everybody today. UOSSM Canada is expanding its scope of medical services, and we are pleased to inform you about more projects and exciting things that we are doing nowadays. And I will call on Dr. Al-Fakir later on to start his presentation. But now we are joined by the Honorable Omar Al-Gabra. Mr. Al-Ghabra has served as a Member of Parliament for Mississauga-Erindale since 2015. Omar Al-Ghabra was re-elected in 2019 federal election. He was appointed as the Parliamentary Secretary to the Prime Minister. Most recently, he was appointed as the Minister of Transport. As a long-time community activist, he is passionate about his involvement with local organizations and causes. Specifically, Mr. Al-Ghabra has worked tirelessly to support initiatives that empower new Canadians through social and economic integration. He has continuously shown his support for UOSSM Canada, and we are grateful for him. Mr. Alghabra, if you would like to share with us a few words.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much, Dr. Reem, for that kind introduction. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me? Yeah. Great. I'm honored to be able to join you. I've had the habit of joining your meetings every year. Usually we did it in person, and usually I'm better dressed than the way I am right now. But I'm grateful for the opportunity to join you virtually and to express my appreciation. I know I see also my friend and colleague MP Ikra Khalid is here too, who's also a big supporter and a friend of UOSSM. UOSSM is, as the name may sound, should be called awesome as well. It's a fantastic organization that has so many incredible leaders leading it, including you, Dr. Reem, including Dr. Hussam, Dr. Anas, and many others that if I start naming everybody, I know I'm gonna forget others. But your leadership, your vision, the whole idea started at the height of the Syrian war when desperate people needed medical help. You stepped up, you encouraged us all to step up, you saved lives, you provided for those who needed it the most. And you have heroes who went there, including Dr. Anas, who went there and saved lives and helped people. And you've also adjusted over the years. Now you're helping people beyond Syria, throughout the world, struck up partnership, worked with the local community organizations, worked with international organizations. I'm so impressed and proud of the work that you've done over the years, and I'm so grateful to you, to every single one of you on the board, as members, as supporters, as donors, as volunteers. You represent the best of what Canada offers to the world, and I am really, really grateful. I'll continue to be a friend of all of you, a supporter of the work that you're doing. And I'm just grateful that you've given me the opportunity to speak with you for a few minutes. So thank you so much for this honor, and it's good to see everybody virtually. And I look forward for the time when we're all can meet each other in person. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Alghabra, for joining us today. And it was a pleasure to have you here. And we really acknowledge your hard working, and in recognition of your hard working, we would like to offer you the Humanitarian Contribution Award that we are offering today from UOSSM Canada. Thank you and congratulations on your new position. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Reem. I don't know if I deserve that award, but I'm humbled by it, and these type of gestures and recognition only drives me to work harder. I know the same. My friend Iqra feels the same way. We're inspired by the work that you're doing, and if any day we feel like we're tired or we need a break, we come to see you, and then we feel so so little compared to the amount of work that you're doing and the help that you're providing to others. So we get inspired and motivated by you. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Well deserved, Minister Omar Al-Gabra. We would like to move on now for our next presentation. It will be by Dr. Al-Fakir. Dr. Al-Fakir serves as the chairman of UOSSM Canada. He is an orthodontist practicing in Canada. He is well known about his passion to help people and make positive changes in people's life. He established a dental clinic in Turkey to help Syrian refugees. Please help me welcome Dr. Al-Fakir.
Thank you, Dr. Reem, for the kind introduction. I really appreciate it. Thank you all for attending. It's a really great honor to stand here or to present for you here virtually. Some of the things that we do in our organization, it really shows our passion and compassion, and are also going to talk about some expansion for for our projects overseas as well. I'm really honored, and I'm excited to share with you guys about UOSSM. So like Dr. Reem mentioned, our vision and mission and values, and you know, I just really stress how important is that our main focus is the health and the well-being of a human being, regardless of their ethnicity or nationality or gender or religion. Where we're located, who are we? We are just a group of doctors, volunteer doctors. We started the organization, like Dr. Reem mentioned, in 2011 after the Syrian conflict. And we have now branched out into most of the developed world. So we have people from Germany, USA, France, Netherlands, and Turkey, and Swiss, and Britain. We have collaboratively working together as to on a certain missions inside Syria and the surrounding area. And we have been expanded last actually a couple of years. So if we go next slide. So we have expanded into other countries where they share the same conflict with us. Not with us, but similar to us, like in Yemen. And we also taught, you know, to work on some of the refugees are in Bangladesh, for Rohingya refugees as well. So we had to share some of the experience that we learned from the Syrian conflict, actually, in other countries where they're also war-torn countries. So that's where we work currently. I'm gonna just share with you guys our main work, what we do, our programs. So our programs is mainly divided into 5 departments. The first one is the primary health care, and then we have a nutrition and community health. We have a protection programs, and we have mental health and psychosocial support programs, and we have also the secondary and tertiary healthcare centers as well. So I'm going to talk about each of those programs that we do and what we do about them. First, I'm going to mention the impact of the last year, 2020. 2020 was it was a difficult year for all of us, and especially with COVID, made it very limited and difficult year to maneuver around, to go around. But we were able to focus on our projects on the first thing is the primary health care. So we have over 500,000 beneficiaries that we did help out during 2020, and then becomes the second larger beneficiaries will be the secondary and tertiary healthcare services that we provided. Then the nutrition and community health this last 2020 was significantly more increased in the community health and nutrition counseling of beneficiaries because of the COVID-19 issue. We are the main 2 programs that go hand in hand, the mental health and psychosocial support with the protection. Also, we have about 50,000 to 34,000 beneficiaries and people benefit last year. So I'm going to just talk about each department again now in details. So the primary healthcare department, it's just really important to provide regular healthcare services to all people in northern part and some refugees camps in around Syria. So we have a main 2 big centers in Ariha and Afrin, and then we have 14 other smaller centers all across the northern Syria, and we have about 8 mobile clinics. Each of those primary healthcare clinics, they have 4 specialty: general and family medicine specialty. We have internal medicine specialty, gynecology, and pediatric as well. And that also includes some lab and pharmacy as well. Some of those primary healthcare clinics, we have expanded them recently, and they include dental clinic, dermatology clinic, orthopedic clinic, and some nutrition departments as well. So I'll give you one example here for a clinic in northern Syria, in Atma. This Atma's town is this very small town in northern part of Syria, northwest. It's closer to the Turkish border, but it has become a place for a lot of refugee camps around that area. So we have over 70,000 people in that region of refugees and local people that lives in that land. And in that center, we have provided all the dental clinic and general health issues clinic and family planning services, as well as pharmacy. and medical lab and psychosocial support, some routine services and malnutrition programs, and vaccination as well for those kids over there in that camps. If I go to the second program that we have is the nutrition and community health. We provide health services and using intervention techniques based on international guidelines. Our nutrition emergency response projects, mostly with the internally displaced people. Those people have left their homes and their lands and their resources, and then they are now living in a tent or a very dire situation. So a lot of the nutrition problems arise in those people. And we have an acute malnutrition inpatient treatment units as well. And we established something called a Welcome Sesame Childhood Program Developer. So those are health workers. They visit those communities and they do work on, in particular, the protocols that they follow is for infant and young children, feeding skills. They work on reproductive health. They work on non-communicable diseases, how to stop it and what to do with it. And also they have integrated management of a childhood illness as well. This community health programs that we established actually that are become more important in the year 2020 when the COVID-19 hits, because that's the area where you reach those vulnerable people and you spread awareness about how to stop the transmission and break the chain of transmission for the COVID-19. So it becomes really important elements of our programs actually. So I have a small little example here about one of the programs that we have. It's called Welcome Sesame program. It's meant for early childhood development and services through community health worker teams. So the team in northern North Syria, especially in Atma area, so they provide learning for those kids, how to read, how to play in a team sport, and how to overcome social anxiety and learning how to speak. Those are really very vulnerable younger kids that they needed a lot of support. So we focused in that program on those younger kids with this kind of team approach. The third, if we go to the third departments of our work, is the protection. It is a newly developed program, actually last 2 years, and it's an extremely important program for a war torn country or region. And that program actually is one of the elements that we were able to expand and take it beyond our borders of the Syrian borders or the neighboring country borders to across the globe, because there's a lot of learning curve in that one actually to how to rehab like a child soldier back to society, how to protect the women and the most vulnerable people actually in the society from abuse, and to talk about the gender biased violence in those society. It is very common. So those are programs that we established. They've been very helpful in that to protect those vulnerable people. So I'm going to give you one example here. If we go next slide, please. We have at Dar Hassan Women's Protection Center. So the women, they get provided with those services. So private consultation, mental health support activities, awareness of the gender biased violence, and also skills on workshops like sewing or hairdressing. This center actually educates women and girls to deal with the violence situation and how to protect themselves. And they are really important in the gender bias violence. Again, this programs is designated for young ladies and younger population, and the reason for that is they're really subjected to extreme violence. We noticed that after the war, a lot of the men have been either died or they're handicapped, and the pressure is now on the women to carry the livelihood of the house, and also we've been subjected for a lot of psychological abuse and physical abuse as well. And the focus on those groups has been really essential for the fact that those women they're going to raise a new generation. They have the kids of those women They're going to be the new generation for that area, and it's important to have a healthy environment and healthy mental health, mental status to be able to raise a better generation or a healthier generation for the future. So that program goes hands in hands with our next program, which is the mental health services and psychosocial support. So we provide a treatment, a rehab, and a special education and assessment and training with the follow-up and surveys and outreach that we do with this program. That we have currently many projects. We have about 5 centers inside Turkey that I'm going to talk about them later on in my presentation. But we have 5 centers, active centers that provide those services. And we have a family center for victims of torture, a special center in Gaziantep. And in Syria, we have different mobile clinic as well for that mental health issues. So I'm going to talk about one example of that for the next slide. Yeah. So it's a mobile psychological counseling. So what it does, it's just in northern part of Syria, and we have established a mobile clinic that really respond to remote area where we cannot reach those services, or it's hard to reach those services, or to also break that barrier of taboo. I mean, a lot of people there don't like to share some of those things, but whether they see you coming to them and they can be close to you from the same land or from the same language, from the same culture, they may be able to open up for you and talk about it. So combined, we have almost 22 specialized health and protection mental health centers in northern Syria. Those centers have actually been supported largely by the WHO, the World Health Organization. The last part of our programs that we do is the secondary. Next slide, please. We do the secondary and tertiary healthcare services. So we provide more specialized health services for people in need. And we collaborate on this with other other organization that works on healthcare in something called a health cluster. So the WHO have established a health cluster for the northern Syria. In that health cluster, we sit down and we organize our work with other players in the healthcare system in northern part of Syria to make it more collaborative efforts. So we currently have 7 hospitals that we operate at. And we are working on expanding actually some of the hospitals to more remote areas. So our work including that one would be distributing medical consumables for all those hospitals, and also renovating damaged and building new hospitals or providing equipments. And also largely what we do, we have a special departments in that Bab al-Hawa hospital that we do a building capacity actually for to medical staff, and establish some educational programs for those healthcare providers or workers. So if I go to next slide here. So Bab al-Hawa Hospital was when we founded that hospital back early on in 2012. We started that hospital with just a few doctors, and now it becomes a more of the specialty hospital in all northern Syria. It's in the main hospitals that has provided like a general surgery, cardio, outpatient clinics, rehab center, and also most sophisticated lab center that we have in northern Syria. This is just a picture of a boy that been treated in that hospital. His name is Mu'tasim, and he suffers from a cerebral atrophy. He continuing to get the physical therapy, a step at this Bab al-Hawa hospital, and marked improvement, remarkable improvement in level of movement and balance and interactions. So lastly, I want to talk about our COVID-19 response, because that's been the highlight of the last year work, that we established about 13 community corona treatment centers, and we deploy a triage and a screening in 12 primary healthcare centers. We have equipped a national hospital with a new oxygen station, and initiated the maintenance of 11 oxygen station across Northwest territories. That goes exactly, it'd be beside distributing all the PPE that necessary for the communities. So if you go next slide, we developed a COVID-19 guidelines for the frontline health workers and trained staff based on a WHO recommendation. And we also carried out a COVID-19 safety campaign for all the beneficiaries. And we established like a helpline for people who are not sure what to do in certain circumstances. So to call and ask about any COVID-19 questions. So with that, I'm going to move on to our Canadian-run projects or Canadian established programs. So the first one, we have the Sermoda Rehab Center. We were able to carry on this project actually with Islamic Relief Canada. They were generous enough to support us on that project and implemented with our partners on the ground. And the beneficiaries of that program is almost 5,600, and provided a physical therapy sessions for 12,000 people and hospitalization for almost 2,200 people. We are currently renewed for phase 2 of that program, and we are still currently running and helping people in Northern Syria. We also, we were proud to establish a new relationship with the IDRF. We were really happy to partner with them as well on the ground and do a PPE distribution. So we were able to really distribute this PPE for almost 5,600 people and over 100 facilities. We also collaborating with the IDRF on a project for Yemen to train almost 100 healthcare workers on COVID-19 issues with online medical training. This project is still at the initial stage, and it will be more about it next year to talk about. We also have a partnership and a great relationship with the Human Concern International. So they were able to help us with some of those mobile clinics that we talked about. We are able to provide almost 17,000 services for those people and over 15 villages or towns in that area. And that we're currently also, we are renewing our program with them. So this project I need to talk about, the last project that I need to talk about also helped by Canada, is that we were able to establish a mobile dental clinic that was that was 2 years ago, in 2019. In 2020 was still running, and I would like in that regards to have a special thanks for Mr. Shaukat Hussain and Sheikh Tariq from Ikra Canada. They were able to help us with continuing support for this project. We were able to establish this mobile dental clinics to cover over 1 million Rohingya refugees. It was told from different sources, from different people, it was the only dental facility at the camps. And it goes from place to place in the camps. It's mobile, it's it was the only mobile dental clinic that provided dental services for those people, and especially younger generation as well. We continue to work on that project with Ikra Canada, and we're really happy to support it for the upcoming years. The last thing that I want to talk about is our expansion. Dr. Reem talked about it. We're really happy to talk about this huge expansion for UOSSM Canada. This is for UOSSM Canada only project that we were able to do a mental health center in Istanbul. So this center is located in Western Istanbul area, and which includes roughly 70,000 refugees. This center is purely for refugees, and those refugees are from different nationalities, not necessarily Syrians. So any refugee that needed help for mental health or psychosocial support or rehab, that would be happy to help on that. So we included we have a psychologist in that center, and psychiatrist, and social worker, and speech pathologist or therapist. Sorry. So we have partnered with UOSSM Turkey to implement that project, but this project run by Canadian doctors. So if anybody is volunteering their time and they want to help with this mental health clinic in Turkey, please let us know. We would be happy to include you in our work with this center. It's a really a great project and a great cause. And luckily that we can do some of the services here from Canada through online now with some of the technology that we've got, and that we can provide the consultation and some of the guidance from here from Canada for the people to implement the project in Turkey. So with this, I'm going to conclude, and thanks all partners and helpers across the globe. And I did mention some, but these are all the people that we work with. And finally, I want to thank you all for listening to my lecture. And I really encourage you to scan this QR code. It's, all this work that we do, it cannot be possible without your help and your support. And thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Dr. Reem.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hussam, for sharing with us the achievement of UOSSM Canada. It's a very challenging situation, and I understand that we need some help from everybody. So please feel free to contact us if you are going to volunteer your time in our different projects. And certainly there are more projects we are looking forward to have. Now, I will move on to our next distinguished speaker is MP Ikra Khalid. I would like to introduce her to everyone. She is a strong supporter of UOSSM Canada, an important figure in our community, and a role model in the community. She is a member of parliament who served Mississauga Erin Mills since 2015. She is a strong advocate for human rights, speaking out on issues such as human trafficking, Rohingya genocide, and systemic racism and religious discrimination. Iqra gives the voice of the people of Mississauga Erin Mill in her role as member of Foreign Affairs Subcommittee on International Human Rights, as chair of the Standing Committee on Justice and Human Rights, and as a chair of the Women's Caucus. Recently, within the pandemic, Iqra focused on the importance of establishing a national strategy for mental health in Canada and reviving economy. Can you please help me to welcome Ikra Khalid? The mic is yours.
Thank you so much, Dr. Reem. And in front of all of UOSSM Canada, I profess my undying love to you and to Dr. Tariq for the wonderful friendship that I have the honor of bearing with you and with UOSSM Canada. It was about a month ago in our International Human Rights Subcommittee meeting, we started a study into the impacts of COVID-19 for internally displaced persons across the world. And one of the case studies that we had done was on the Cox's Bazar in Bangladesh for the Rohingya refugees that were there. And the testimonies that we heard were along the lines of these people have completely been ostracized. They don't get access to medication, to doctors, to medical treatments, and will probably be last in line to get the vaccine. And it was at that time I really thought about the work that UOSSM Canada and across the world that you all do, that you all support, that you fund, that you really dedicate your lives to. And I can't begin to tell you, when we talk about Sadaqah Jariyah, I don't know how to say it in Arabic, but that's kind of how we say it in Urdu, as in, giving for generations to remember. I can't begin to think about what kind of impact that UOSSM has on hundreds and thousands of people across the world. The work that you do changes generations. It impacts families through generations. It empowers people through generations. And I'm humbled to support it. I know that I can never support enough all of the work that you do across the world. With Canada committing $220 million through COVAX to ensure that those that are most vulnerable do have access to the vaccine. I can't help but think about the global impact that you and organizations like you have on those that really need that support. So as a member of parliament, it's my obligation, my duty, and quite honestly, my passion to raise the voice of the voiceless, to really protect those that are most vulnerable. I try to do that through, whether it's being chair of the Justice Committee or being chair of the Women's Caucus or as part of the International Human Rights Subcommittee. I can't begin to tell you the importance of our partnership between the Government of Canada and UOSSM and all of the work that you do. Know that you have a permanent ally, a permanent supporter in me, and I know in many of my colleagues. Minister Alghabra was here earlier today. I know Sven sends his regrets, Sven Spengeman. But we're here to support you, and we have undying gratitude for the work that you do. And I'll just say in closing, thank you from the bottom of my heart for the lives that you impact, for the goodness that you create in the world, at so many different levels for so many different lives. Jazakallah khair.
Thank you so much, Iqra. And actually, I really appreciate how you called us as Sadaqa Jariyah. You are the hero here. I will call you the Iron Woman for this year. You have done a lot for the community and for UOSSM. Thank you for being with us. And please keep our friendship as is. Thank you.